Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is David Andrew Christensen. It's the 23rd of September 2014. It's 7:30 a.m. here in Miramar Beach, Florida. I'm in a bit of a hurry, so please forgive me as this has been rushed. Video 701 inadvertently received a secret CONOP 8888 briefing at Eglin Hurlburt Air Force Base. How it happened to me, I don't know. Why it happened to me, I don't know. It just did. I had no intention of being there. I had no intention of being part of it. You know, I'm not even allowed on the base. So, unbelievable that this happened to me, ladies and gentlemen. It's the story of my life, as I've always told you. Please get out and review some of my videos. 682, the United States will confirm the existence of the Katrina virus after the midterm elections. What is the Katrina virus? Video 142, 147, here's how they attempted to assassinate me. 49, video 149, the U.S. military murders Americans. And then currently video 689 talks about the current D68. The chief architect of the cover-up of the Ebola and the Katrina virus is Judge Patrick Higginbotham of the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. I call him Dr. Mengele. And updates. Real quick in the briefing, billions of dollars in contracts are going to military contracts that are connected to special ops. Containment, quarantine, and disposal were the big words. Military operations within the territorial boundaries of the United States were briefed. Purchase orders were being discussed for capital equipment purchases. Obama is using Ebola protection of the nation as the cover story. Many of the people there are military academy grads. I saw a lot of Air Force Academy grads. Unbelievable that they're comfortable conducting military operations within the territorial boundaries of the United States. I don't even know what to say about that anymore. New Orleans, Hurricane Katrina was mentioned often as the basis for CONOP 8888. Remember, they had to dispose of 1,500 contaminated Katrina virus bodies. Look at my video. Obama attended the CDC briefing, and the next day he was in Tampa for the military briefing. My video 686, Obama will attend secret meeting Tuesday at CDC about Katrina virus, Ebola, and enterovirus. Wow. Then he went down to Tampa after leaving the CDC. At Tampa, you have headquarters, United States Central Command, United States Special Operations Command, United States Special Operations Command Central, etc. For his classified briefings on what the military is going to do both in Africa and in the United States. Look at what's at Hurlburt Field. I gave you the description there. Look at what's at Eglin. I gave you the description of the field. Remember that Eglin and Hurlburt were fully deployed, all right, to Belle Chase Naval Air Station, all right, immediately, both before and after the storm, okay. And I've given you proof that those guys gave interviews. They flew the press around. They were instructed that they couldn't rescue anybody. That's why no rescue took place for 5 days. I mean, here you have the greatest military in the world, and we couldn't rescue the people from New Orleans. Remember, it was George Bush that flew over New Orleans and didn't land because he didn't want to be infected. They used security as an excuse. Ladies and gentlemen, I flew the president's Air Force One, the Secret Service. Security was in place. He could have landed at Belle Chase, which was fully operational. At the briefing, and I want to emphasize this, the following military contractors were in attendance. Kenyan International Emergency Services. Go to their website, read what they do. They dispose of the bodies, ladies and gentlemen. That's their job. Contaminated corpses. All right, look at the people that I'm connected to. You know, it's like everybody, you can't stop what's going to happen anymore. The title is Pandemic. In less than 24 hours, the CDC realized that millions of kids will die. The federal desensitizing propaganda machine has switched to Fox News. Why the 3-week delay in reporting the horrific news? I don't have a clue. The CDC does not even know what the virus is. Our children are developing asthma, respiratory ailments, allergies, etc. at record levels and rising. Remember that we saw a 15% increase in autistic male children in a 3-year period. and that's going to continue. Right now, 1 out of 40 male children is autistic. That number will be 1 in 25 in about 3 years. I can't express to you that our nation, our government has to tell us the truth soon so we know what we're facing. You know, you don't go like yesterday with CNN's article in just a little bit, and then you know, you go from that headline to this headline. But let me talk about this headline for a minute. This is just, it says children's hospitals in 10 states, all of a sudden now we're in 10 states, report spike in respiratory illnesses. All right, they're talking about in Colorado they had 900 children that were admitted for respiratory illnesses. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not a spike, that's an atomic explosion. But again, their job is to desensitize you to what the truth is and what the reality of the situation is. So we talk about spike. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an atomic explosion. All right. The next big sentence that I want to talk about is they call it enterovirus 68. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Katrina virus. It could be the pneumonic plague, an offshoot of that was found in Colorado 2 months ago. All right. But they say through testing of samples, though testing of samples has not produced a definitive answer. They don't know, ladies and gentlemen. You don't know, I don't know, nobody knows what's causing it. All right, the Katrina virus is involved, it mutates, it affects everybody differently. You know, we have to start looking, you know, at the fact that we have damaged our immune systems. You know, the most important part of your body is not your heart, not your brain, not your lungs, it's your immune system. I don't know what to say hardly anymore. You know, as we enter the winter months, and it's coming, ladies and gentlemen, trust me on that. And what I really don't get is why our senior citizens aren't up in arms. And now you're going to start, you know, you're going to start seeing this big press release. They're going to start coming out about getting your flu shot. You know, it's your call. You know, there is no magic cure for the damage that we've done to our immune systems. This just came in. Devastating news about D68 and enterovirus, Katrina virus. The government, CDC, National Institute of Health, is lying. It's federal desensitizing propaganda. Unbelievable. 200 kids go to the emergency room in Boston. 200. Only 10 test positive for D68. The media distributes, all right, the federal desensitizing propaganda stating that the 10 kids test positive for D68. Ladies and gentlemen, 200 went. What do the other 190 kids have? That's the question. All right, so they do a test and 10 test positive for D68. What do the other 190 kids at the emergency room have? And they won't tell us. So here's a perfect example of the government. You know, you can go look at their website at the CDC about this D68 and the enterovirus. All right, but go to this web page. All right, it's from week 7 of the Flu View report ending February 15th, 2014, earlier this spring. People go to the hospital, right? They get tested for the influenza, the flu, the cold. They did 6,887 tests. Only 958 tested positive. That was 13.9%. What did the other 86.1% of the people have? And that's the question, all right, is they mislead you and everybody just falls for it. Oh, well, you know, we got 10 kids tested positive, or we've got 13.9% that tested. Well, that's not what I want to know. I want to know what everybody else has. And they won't tell us. They don't even address it. And the media doesn't ask the question because they're part of it. This is a national and international pandemic, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody should be talking about it. I see Schumer now, the senator from New York, is talking about it. So Google D68 enterovirus and the Katrina virus in your hometown. Look at the people at the hospital. Call the hospitals and find out. Look at the emergency rooms. They don't allow visitors now. It's just unbelievable that this isn't front page national news, that they just let it go and everybody believes it. It is federal desensitizing propaganda. You've got to ask those questions. What does everybody else have? They have destroyed our immune systems. I'm going to tell it to you again and again and again. You know, don't be fooled by our government. You know, all you do is look at Obama right now and the way the federal government works. It's dysfunctional. You look at the Department of Justice, the Department of Defense, the CIA, the NSA, ladies and gentlemen. We had this beautiful document called the Constitution that we've just destroyed. and everybody voluntarily did it. And now we're going to pay the price. When a civilization starts murdering their own kids directly and indirectly, as we have done, it's the end of times. So go and enjoy your life today, and tell your neighbors about it. Got this information this morning. The title is United States will confirm the existence of the Katrina virus after the midterm elections. The longer title is United States will confirm the release and existence of the Katrina virus and the murdering of Americans by the U.S. military during Hurricane Katrina after the midterm elections and no later than February 2015. Confirmation came from, and this is an alias, John Roberts. I haven't talked about John or heard from him in over a year, but he's been a very reliable source for me. The information concerning the Katrina virus and the murdering of Americans is being held and deposited with the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals in New Orleans. It's being held under seal in the Danziger appeal. It's a Kenneth Bowen case, the biggest civil rights case of the last 30 years. It's case number 13-31078. May I remind you of the book, The United States Supreme Court and the Katrina Virus, that I put into the Library of Congress back in February 2012. The first sentence reads, "An epic constitutional crisis. I am talking about the political destruction of all three branches, executive, judicial, and legislative, of our federal government. 155 million Americans and Canadians may be infected with the Katrina virus." So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. More to follow. I'm still doing the research. Like I said, it was a sledgehammer to the head. It makes sense what's taken place in the Danziger appeal. The appeal is just on a judge's order, and it's a massive amount of information flowing into the Fifth Circuit. Remember, there's a military DVD of what happened at the Danziger Bridge. The military was responsible for what happened. Remember, Teresa McKay, the Director of Finance and Accounting Services, confirmed for me that a military division was in New Orleans before the storm. She paid for it. She issued millions of dollars in cash in satchels. She told me this at my house at 842 Camp Street, New Orleans. She's married to my roommate from the Air Force Academy. It was Ambassador Donald Ensign, who's George Bush's roommate from Yale and very close friend, that confirmed that George Bush flew over New Orleans so that he did not get infected with the Katrina virus. General Russell Honore confirmed the reason the U.S. military publicly didn't arrive in New Orleans for 5 days was to allow the Katrina virus to dissipate. Let me make sure that I hit everybody. My cousin Admiral John Christensen is involved. Army Colonel and psychiatrist Joe Christensen is involved. These things, Mayor Ray Nagin, the whole thing is this massive cover-up. But it has to be exposed with these new viruses, the D68 coming out, Ebola, the pneumonia death rate, etc. Admiral John Christensen and Colonel Joe Christensen murdered Joni Marie Christensen, our cousin. Admiral John Christensen is currently Chief of Staff for European Command. He's my cousin. Colonel Joseph Christensen is a doctor and psychiatrist with an extensive background in Army and Veterans Administration, medical and mental health issues. Both of my cousins have in-depth knowledge of the Katrina virus. They have in-depth knowledge of what happened in New Orleans. It is unbelievable. Both intentionally refused to help Joni Marie Christensen, the Christensen family, and mankind, as well as all Americans. What they have done to their own, what have they done to their own kids and grandkids? What have we done to all Americans? What does this say about us as Americans? Military admirals murdering Americans, cousins murdering cousins, parents murdering children and grandchildren. I don't know how much farther down the hole we can go, ladies and gentlemen, as a nation when things like this happen. It has come to my attention that they're masking this enterovirus, Katrina virus, Ebola deaths as pneumonia deaths. I'll get you more information on that as it happens, but just realize that your United States military is participating in the murder of you and your family, just like they did in New Orleans when they violated the Constitution, our civil rights, the Posse Act, etc. It is reprehensible what these generals and admirals are doing. Gutless. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's the 25th of September 2014. It's 11 a.m. here in Miramar Beach, Florida. This is video 705, breaking news. Eric Holder resigns and takes the fall. for Danziger and the release of the Katrina virus and Ebola. Review my video 367. YouTube stood by me and the First Amendment. Huge victory against Obama. Katrina virus. Video 309. I hope and pray that Eric Holder is assassinated to save your life. Katrina virus. Video 354. Here are the 600 plus murderers. Just one of them could stop the genocide today. Katrina virus. Holder, arrogant, SOB, to be completely blunt. All he had to do was make a phone call. Remember, I'm a federal whistleblower because of bankruptcy and mortgage fraud. That's it. I never wanted to be this. I never wanted to be part of this. And but they were so arrogant. Jim Letton, Bobby Bernstein, Robert Mueller, the head of the FBI, Thomas Perez, the Secretary of Labor. They feel that they can just roll over Americans, and I didn't let them do it to me. I stood up for myself. These people are no different than Adolf Hitler. So watch the news. I think this is the beginning of the end for Obama, how he's going to handle the Ebola, the Katrina virus, the Danziger case, which is being tried in secret at the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, with Judge Higginbotham taking charge. Remember, Obama had a personal plea to John Roberts, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. It was very clear that he needed Obamacare because of what was going to happen with the Katrina virus, the D68, the enterovirus, all this stuff is coming to a head. I'm David Andrew Christensen. Godspeed. They attempted to assassinate me. 49, video 149, the U.S. military murders Americans. And then currently video 689 talks about the current D68. The chief architect of the cover-up of the Ebola and the Katrina virus is Judge Patrick Higginbotham of the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. Unbelievable that this happened to me, ladies and gentlemen. It's the story of my life, as I've always told you. Please get out and review some of my videos. 682, the United States will confirm the existence of the Katrina virus after the midterm elections. What is a Katrina virus? Video 142, 147. Here's how I... Morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is David Andrew Christensen. It's the 23rd of September, 2014. It's 7:30 a.m. here in Miramar Beach, Florida. I'm in a bit of a hurry, so please forgive me, because this has been rushed. Video 701. Inadvertently received a secret CONOP 8888 briefing at Eglin Hurlburt Air Force Base. How it happened to me, I don't know. Why it happened to me, I don't know. It just did. I had no intention of being there. I had no intention of being part of it. You know, I'm not even allowed on the base. So,